Greetings and blessings to all you beautiful souls out there. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. We're here studying the lessons of A Course in Miracles, the Great Blue Book, and today we're going to be studying lesson number 80. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. And for those of you who are following along in my journey, today is day 19 of my 21-day water fast here in Costa Rica. Oh yeah, hydration is so much more important to me now than it ever was before, and it will be forever. I'm adding years to my life by staying hydrated, and so can you. All right, so let's jump on into this. I had a kind of a humorous meditation with this one this morning, and I'll share that with you after I read the lesson. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. If you are willing to recognize your problems, you will recognize that you have no problems. Your one central problem has been answered, and you have no other. Therefore, you must be at peace. Salvation thus depends on recognizing this one problem and understanding that it has been solved. One problem, one solution. Salvation is accomplished. Freedom from conflict has been given you. Accept that fact, and you are ready to take your rightful place in God's plan for salvation. Your only problem has been solved. Repeat this over and over to yourself today with gratitude and conviction. You have recognized your only problem, opening the way for the Holy Spirit to give you God's answer. You have laid deception aside and seen the light of truth. You have accepted salvation for yourself by bringing the problem to the answer. And you can recognize the answer because the problem has been identified. You are entitled to peace today. A problem that has been resolved cannot trouble you. Only be certain that you do not forget that all problems are the same. Well, that's a good point. Their many forms will not deceive you while you remember this. One problem, one solution. Accept the peace this simple statement brings. In our longer practice periods today, we will claim the peace that must be ours when the problem and the answer have been brought together. The problem must be gone because God's answer cannot fail. Having recognized one, you have recognized the other. The solution is inherent in the problem. You are answered and have accepted the answer. You are saved. Now, let the peace that your acceptance brings be given you. Close your eyes and receive your reward. Recognize that your problems have been solved. Recognize that you are out of conflict, free, and at peace. Above all, remember that you have one problem and that the problem has one solution. It is in this that the simplicity of salvation lies. It is because of this that it is guaranteed to work. Assure yourself today that your problems have been solved. Repeat the idea with deep conviction as frequently as possible, and be particularly sure to apply the idea for today to any specific problems that may arise. Say quickly, "Let me recognize this problem has been solved." Let us be determined not to collect grievances today. Let us be determined to be free of problems that do not exist. The means is simple honesty. Do not deceive yourself about what the problem is, and you must recognize it has been solved. So before I get into describing the meditation today, it just occurred to me reading this lesson. At around 3:45, 4 a.m. this morning, I heard this scratching on the outside of my cabin here, and I could tell it was like low to the ground, and I thought maybe it's one of the cats. There's a lot of cats here, and then it just kept going, and it was getting deeper and deeper, so I got out of bed and stomped my feet, and it didn't stop, and I laid back in bed and I thought, I'll deal with it when the animal gets in. And then I thought to myself, I barely have enough energy to lift this book. Am I going to be able to deal with a wild animal coming into my little room here? I better go outside. So I took my flashlight out there, and I encountered this armadillo. I didn't know there were armadillos in Costa Rica, and I scared him, and he was trying to hide. And normally when I see animals, I get so excited and happy, but I was like, you gotta go, you gotta get. And so he, took off his little armored vehicle out through the jungle, and he was gone, didn't come back. And again, in my mind, I was like, okay, problem solved. So it's interesting that the last 2 lessons are about problems being solved, and I was presented with these problems in the morning. Anyway, so when I read this lesson and went into meditation, this was kind of funny. I was getting, I don't know if any of you saw that movie, The Passion of the Christ. Super emotional, super bloody and gory, like the whole scene of Jesus with the cross and the crown of thorns and blood, and just heading up to go be tortured. So in my mind, there was just panning to those kind of scenes, and then me, or just any one of us, one of us Course in Miracles students. There's a point to this at the end here. So instead of having a crown of thorns, it was this crown that just looked like leather and metal, and had these chain hooks to it all the way around, and chains, and then these dumbbell bars, kind of, I don't know, maybe a shot put thing, but it was attached to this chain. And it was the idea was your problems, or your belief that you have problems, are weighing you down. So you're wearing this thing on your head, and you're walking, and it's kind of hard to balance, and it's really taking a lot of your energy and strength. And then it pans to Jesus taking the cross and going up a hill. So then I'm walking with these things hanging, these bells, barbells, whatever they are, moving around. I'm like, oh, it's hard. And then I go up to the side of a building, and there's a ladder against the building. So I start going up the ladder, and I get to the top of the building, and then I climb up onto, I don't know if it's a church or something, maybe, but there's a roof that comes up to a V like that. And I get up on the roof, and it's almost like I'm in a small town, and there's a farmer's market over to my left. I can see lots of people, and the people that are walking by, they're kind of looking up at me what's wrong with her? And I was just standing there trying to wave to people, and as if I'm trying to teach them about their problems and their beliefs are holding them down. And so then I do this thing where I take the crown off. And then I'm just I just kind of go like this, and my heart is shining out, and I'm just showing these people who are ignoring me, that this is happening, that you can have this weight lifted off of you and this freedom if you recognize that your problems have been solved. And so I mean, I guess the irony in that is we're all doing this kind of work, and maybe you don't tell a lot of people, maybe people aren't even familiar with the Course in Miracles, but it's to me, it just shows me how many people are just really stuck in that mindset, and they're really held down, and they're all kind of wearing these things. Now, I didn't see that in my meditation, and that was kind of where it ended, by the way, was just I'm trying to shine and show people. And the last thing I remember is this woman who's pushing a baby carriage looks up at me on top of this building and then looks away. And I was just all right, I don't totally understand this, but I think it's a matter of I have awareness, I'm gaining awareness that this tool, not only these lessons, but what we're practicing in our minds, and what's actually happening with all these unconscious and subconscious toxic things and we're letting them go, we're getting lighter and lighter and lighter and brighter as well. And we're meant to be shining wherever we are, if people are paying attention to us or not. I think we grow where we're planted, and that we're all kind of like positioned around the planet in certain places for a reason. And we don't need that external validation because we know how this really works, Only a tiny, tiny bit of our soul experience is even here on earth. So it shouldn't matter to us. We shouldn't be taking it personally, right? So not only are we doing this work that is helping us to really clarify and understand that the only real problem we have is separation from God and all those emotions that come from that, and all this other stuff that we have going on in our life, I would say that we're going to start being able to resolve those things in a much easier way, because we understand that it's a derivative of the bigger problem. And these are just presented to us to challenge us, perhaps to get us into union with another human that maybe needs our light, or we need to learn from them. Like, there's never an accident when we're brought together with certain people or we're presented with certain problems. So I don't know. I think it's interesting how that all turned out, and the meditation, and it's worth considering. Like, what do you think your purpose is where you are? Do you talk to people about your spiritual practice? While I'm here during the fasting experience, I am so, so, so grateful that I have the Course in Miracles, that I have all of you, because I feel like if I didn't have a tool to deal with my mind, when I'm just like sitting around all day for hours just drinking water, I might go totally freaking insane. I might go mad, because everybody's mind is coming at them and starting with them. Now, granted, here, some people have a little bit of service, so if you do need to distract yourself, you can grab your phone, or, I've been reading this book, The Fifth Agreement. It's excellent. I don't know if you guys have read the Four Agreements, but it's written by the same author and his son. I'll talk about that in another video, but there are things that I'm doing with my mind and with my time that I feel like I'm totally soothed. Like, there are moments where I feel a little bit stir crazy, but if I didn't have a spiritual practice, I would probably, I don't know. I would get through this, but it would be so much harder, And so I feel so lucky that all times in life that I have a spiritual practice, because I see the world in like multiple levels. Like, I can be in the lowest density and have those experiences and enjoy that, or be annoyed by it, or whatever it is. But then I can step back and say, oh, okay, there's a cause, or there's a bigger lesson here, or something. I have that capacity to evaluate things in such a way that it doesn't burden me, and I can let things go. I don't ruminate. I don't hang on to things. I don't have grudges. I don't have any enemies. I don't have anything that I hate. I'm not upset about anything, and it's like, thank God for my spiritual practice. So I hope you all feel that way too, and that you also feel like you're starting to come around to this idea that all of your problems have been solved, and that your biggest problem is actually the separation, and any other challenges you have in your life. Let's say, for instance, you're going through like a court case right now, or something like that. If you can adjust your attitude about it and look at it like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to learn something, to bless someone, to bless myself, whatever it is, whatever happened yesterday is gone. It's in the past. You're just in today. Tomorrow isn't here yet. And what's there for you? Where's the nutrient-rich soil that you can grow in? Like, you can approach things that way and not carry the heavy burden of resentments and judgments and depression and anxiety. All that stuff is a choice, believe it or not. And it's hard to hear that, especially if you're going through something really hard, but it really is a choice. And I hope that you choose love. I hope that you choose peace. I hope that you can learn from whatever's going on in your life and it helps you to grow. And then inevitably, whatever your challenging experiences that you're going through, you're going to be able to help somebody else. And that's the beauty. That's why we're here. We're not here just for ourselves, just to win, just to have, whatever success we're seeking. We're here for our brothers and sisters, to be in service to others. That's the point of this. This is the planet of learning and growing and giving. So have that on your mind today. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your meditation. Keep telling yourself all day long, let me recognize my problems have been solved, and see if that helps you feel better about your day. I love you all very much. Make sure you drink some water today, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow.